I'm Clara Winters, a 38-year-old Native American woman from Florida, and this is my story. Ever been told you don't deserve to shine? Not just any light, my light, the one I built from nothing. 10 years ago, my family swore I'd never escape their shadow. They thought I'd fade, just another dreamer from Florida with no chance at greatness. But I lit a fire so bright the whole world sees it now, and they can't look away. This is how I turned their doubt into a media empire that lights up millions of lives. This is how I made them see. I grew up in Florida, carrying the strength of my Seminole ancestors who taught me to stand tall no matter what. But my family, they didn't see that in me. My dad ran a failing print shop in Connecticut, barely keeping it together. My sister Lindsay was their star. Wall Street lawyer, perfect hair, perfect life, always center stage. I dreamed of telling stories the world would see, but Dad called it messing around with blogs. He thought I was wasting my time chasing a fantasy. I remember a family dinner where Lindsay smirked and told me to pour the wine, saying I was too busy with my silly tweets. That kind of jab, it cuts deep, especially from family. When I left the print shop at 27, they laughed. Dad said no daughter of his would waste her life on videos. Mom sighed, asking why I couldn't be like Lindsay, with her fancy degree and corner office. I didn't argue. I let them think I was a lost cause chasing a pipe dream. But I was writing scripts for what would become the first big show for Luminary Media, my company. Back then, I started with nothing, just a laptop, a dream, and nights spent fighting off Florida mosquitoes in my tiny apartment. I poured everything into a single zero-budget project. 7 years later, Luminary Media had 50 platforms, streaming services, news portals, reaching millions. 1 billion views, and I was no blogger. But my family, they thought I was scraping by, editing clips in a coffee shop, living on dreams and instant coffee. At another dinner, Mom asked if I was still messing with those videos, her voice heavy with pity. I smiled and said something like that. Lindsay told me to get a real job, to stop with the internet nonsense. I didn't bother correcting them. My light was growing, and I knew they'd see it soon enough. That's the thing about family. I showed up in a custom emerald gown, worth $20,000. Understated, but stunning, holding a silver envelope. Lindsay was at the entrance blocking my way, sneering in a knockoff Gucci dress that screamed desperation. I said, "Good thing I don't need a ticket, Linz." She told me to go back to my little videos, said a ticket cost more than I'd make in a year. I told her, "It's a charity gala. I brought a donation." She mocked me, asking if it was a free YouTube Premium subscription. That envelope held a $5 million check for the charity I founded. She didn't know that yet. She was too busy playing gatekeeper at my event, blind to the staff nodding to me, calling me Miss Winters, their boss. I could have walked away, let them think I was nobody. But that fire inside me, the one my Seminole ancestors passed down, wouldn't let me. This was my light, and I wasn't letting them dim it. Mom joined in, saying they'd agreed as a family that this was for influential people, that I'd embarrass them. I said, "Embarrass you? Mom, I picked every screen in this room." She scoffed, insisting I didn't belong in their world of power and prestige. Lindsay told me to stick to TikTok, like my work was some childish game. Those words burned, but I'd felt worse. They had no idea I'd just signed a $200 million deal with a streaming giant for Luminary's next show. My agent emailed the contract while Lindsay was trashing my dress, thinking she had the upper hand. I stood there, holding a secret so big it was ready to burst. I stepped forward, my heart steady, my resolve stronger than ever. My creative director approached, asking if everything was okay, saying my stage for the keynote was ready. Lindsay's jaw dropped when she heard him call me Miss Winters, demanding to know what he meant. I looked at her, calm and sharp, and said, "Oh, didn't I mention? I own Luminary Media. All 50 platforms to be exact." Pause for effect. Mom stammered that it was ridiculous, that I just made internet videos. My director set them straight, explaining I'm the founder of Luminary Media, that I built this empire from nothing, from those sleepless nights in Florida to a global stage. Their faces were brighter than my brightest premiere spotlight. Lindsay's knockoff Gucci purse hit the floor. Mom clutched her necklace, stunned. I walked past them into my venue, staff standing taller, greeting me. I handed him the envelope with a $5 million check from my charity. I didn't need to say it. The room said it all. Lindsay slunk to a corner whispering to her fiancé, who was sweating because his law firm depends on my platform's ad revenue. Her firm lost a contract with my news portal over late payments. Tough break. His bank's been begging for my show's sponsorship all year, emails piling up in my inbox. Mom was telling guests she always knew I'd make it. "Sure, Mom." Sarcastic chuckle. They spent years trying to dim my light, and now they were scrambling to stand in it, rewriting history like I hadn't fought for every inch of this. I didn't need their apologies or their validation. 10 years ago, they tried to keep me in their shadow, to snuff out my dreams. I lit my own light instead, a media empire that illuminates millions of lives. Luminary Media isn't just platforms or views. It's proof I could shine without their permission, a truth my seminal heritage taught me long before I built this empire. My ancestors faced worse than family doubt and still stood tall. So did I. Later, on the rooftop with New York's lights below, Dad approached, his voice low, admitting he was wrong, completely wrong. I said, "Yeah, Dad, you were. But I lit this light for me, not you." He asked if we could start over, his eyes pleading. I said, "Maybe, but from now on, you're standing in my light." Forgiveness is their burden, respect is mine, and I've earned every ray of it. This light, I lit it. Every beam, every frame, every story. If you've ever been told you can't shine, light your own. Make it so bright they beg to stand in it. And when they do, you decide who stays in your glow. If this story sparked something in you, hit like, share it, and tell me in the comments, what's your light? Let's keep this going.